I know.
Okay.
All right, y'all ready to go? Sweet. Thanks for coming. So I sort of want to start with I did this in my last WACU. I'm the last person that should be giving this presentation. I don't know how I ended up here. For 20 some years of my tennis career, I didn't tell this person a soul who I was or about my family. They knew nothing about me. They did not have my cell phone. They didn't know where I lived. Absolutely nothing. I kept you guys separate from my real life. And somehow, 20 some years later, everybody in this room pretty much knows everything about me. So I don't know if I'm the right person to give this. But I've always been a very, in that time, very, where do I go next? I have this job, I want another one. I get that one, what's my next club? So I was always very, I'm not going to create sort of relationships with employees or members for that matter. And so this is an odd thing for me to be in a place where I feel like I can cry and be sad and all that stuff, right? So I'm going to do my best. I will swear. Katie, you in? Kayla, you're in? Right? I might cry. I'm not embarrassed of crying. I'm embarrassed of how I look when I cry. It's not the actual act of crying. I just don't think I'm pretty cry. Right? So if I you might see me just turn around. So
well, that's okay.
I have nowhere to hide. Many years ago, I ran my first marathon, and I had advice from a friend of mine who's a big runner, who was Schreier. He told me, tell everybody on the planet, everyone you see at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, that you are running a marathon because you need accountability to the world. Because you will be shamed. You'll feel terrible and embarrassed and shameful if you don't actually do something you bragged about doing. So I have started taking that into my personal life a bit and telling everybody everything I do, from whether it's personal stuff or even work stuff. Dude, you're fired.
No. I can.
Oh, there's both of them. Nikki's not fired, just gone. Yeah. So that's kind of. So my title, it's a kind of long, but it's actually shorter than what it was when I started. I just wanted to explain it a little bit. Many people in this room know the story. I had two dreams this past probably summer. First one is my dog Willie jumped into the Grand Canyon. We were on vacation. It was a blue Honda Odyssey. I remember all of it. We finally made it to the Grand Canyon. I opened the sliding door. Willie jumps out, runs to the edge of the Grand Canyon, and leaps in and smashes himself. Not as bad as you think, George. Right. But on his way. This is only the first one.
Oh.
On the way. He's not a very smart dog. On his way down, he went to like cartoon dog, and his ears were flapping, and his big smile on his face, and slobber everywhere, and spinning around. He looked perfectly happy. So I think he ended it in a happy place, right? Shortly after that, I had another one. We were at the WAC, walking past the racquetball courts upstairs, and Willie was playing with kids from the kids club, and he decided to leap over the edge and crash himself into the floor. Looking at me like, oh, crazy. He's still good. Okay. So thanks to, there he is. He's still here. He's with us, Jordy. There's several in this room. It might have been Nikki who looked up for me what that means. And I'm not a big believer in what dreams mean. I don't go in that world, but I'm leaning that way. So we looked it up, and it signified loss, major life milestones, not really tragic things, just separation from people, from things. So that is where this WACU was born in that moment where I heard her tell me that. Because I just thought, there's something there. And then I just started telling everybody my story and sort of hopefully built a presentation today that is not dreadful for all of you, right? So I just wanted to explain that. So if you have dreams about dogs jumping off of things, someone's leaving you. Just a heads up. Right? Yeah. You're about to get broken up with. I'm just saying, right? So I wanted to do this because every WACU I've been to, even the one I did, previously was very much member service based. What do we do for them, right? Processes and charts and graphs and all that kind of stuff. And it's all great. It's not the way I think. So I started thinking, could there be one where we have a discussion about how we treat each other and how we use teammates in your various locations to help get you through difficult things. My stuff was 225 days. I like to keep track of stats. You've seen my dry erase board. There's always a countdown to something coming up. But I remember dates. So that's my dog, Jordy. He's perfectly fine. He's a great dog. This is where it started. Okay, this is my year anniversary. This wasn't this year. Right, I let my daughter do the slideshow, so if there's something in there, I haven't 100% vetted it, so I'm hopeful. I gave her a list of things. She went through all my photos and found pictures, and I think it's okay. This was the morning I went to the hospital. I looked good, don't I?
Yeah.
I had no idea I looked so terrible. And this was the night I went to the hospital. Okay, getting better. Right.
You look less terrible than I
Right? I didn't know it. People kept telling me you look terrible. I'm like, thanks for that, right? But this was just me, my year anniversary, closest I've been to any major medical stuff. Not closest, I was in it, right? Having those things, right? So that hit. I know I talked to Kayla a ton about it in listen to our podcast, all that medicine. Yeah. So that kind of started my 225 days or so of all kinds of stuff. I also want to make sure you all, none of this stuff I'm going to talk about is bad. Like, my dog's alive, right? I survived all this stuff. It's just things I went through that I needed people in this room and my team to help me with. And so I'm just going to go through the list real quick. I had my son's 18th birthday. 16th. That's her 16th. Molly, I'm surprised she put her own picture in here. Again, happy things, right? But when you're my age, these things start to trigger what's next. They're going to be out of the house, right? They're doing cool stuff. And so, again, happy. About a week later, my oldest gets engaged. Like, that crushed me, right? He's cool. We like him until I don't. That's the relationship we have is, I really like you, Jack, until you wrong her, and then you're dead to me. So we got to do that. I had my 4th skin cancer bout. I won. It's not tragic, right? But I got sweet stitches, right? Again, things that just kept adding up to me that were causing me the need to talk to people. This one, I'm going to turn around. Yeah, I can't talk about that. But you get it. He left shortly after that.
To do that.
Yes, he left to do that. Then we had a wedding. So graduation, enlisting in the military, and this in a week. That crushed me. I cried a lot. More than I'm going to do here. All good things. Graduation. And that leads us to this last week. Yeah, I can't look at that either. But it was awesome. If you want to hear more about it, let me know. I've got videos and all kinds of cool stuff. We'll get to that later. So those are all these things that happened to me in those days. And so I just want to go over how we handle it with each other, coworkers, and members. A big part of this. So I'm going to sort of start, and again, you all are free to. I joked earlier we're going to do role playing and skits, and I hate that shit. Shoot, there it is. I just broke the seal. We're all free to swear.
I think I swore that much.
The first.
Seconds.
Yeah.
You started it. I think I started.
Believe you did. You beat me. So I tell everybody I teach on the tennis court, don't listen to everything I say or any of our coaches. I tell them don't listen to 100% to Tim, Connor, or Kevin. Because everything's a little bit different, right? Different opponents. Okay? Every ball comes over a little bit different. We're just given tools, right? We want to fill their toolbox with all kinds of stuff. So when things happen, you can pick and choose what you need for that moment. So everything I say today is my story. There's not going to be a single thing today that I tell you should do, right? It just worked for me in most cases, and it was comfortable to me. So pick and choose what you all take from this, but do not listen to me. That should be the motto of this. I want to do members first. How do you know whether you can share personal stories with members? Where do you all I wrote some things, and again, everybody's welcome to chime in whenever you want. Interrupt me. I'm not going to ask people to share their life stories unless you'd like to. Do we even do it? Some of you may disagree that we do not share that side of us with members. I was that person, and now I'm 100% switched that we should. And it's necessary on, in my opinion, multiple levels. When I wrote when shit goes wrong, right? When stuff goes bad at the club, and you have previous relationship with someone on a sort of a deeper level than just leader, manager, coach, right? And something goes bad, it is far easier to handle that situation when they know what you have dealt with, right? What things have gone on that you've been willing to share with them. Things. So on a work basis, it is so much easier when I have to make a difficult phone call or have a bad conversation talking to someone who knows some of those things I went through, right? I'm telling you, get a break. They will help. They will not yell as loud. They won't yell as long. They won't go above you, except for one person who always wants to go above you. Yeah, we've got one that always goes to. I tell her no, she goes to Tim. It's got the last voice in this, and he says yes, yes. I think he does, right? It's a way again to give yourself a chance to survive that awkward conversation because of a relationship you've built, right? They also may have experienced something similar to you, and you don't even know it, and now they can be a resource, right? They can connect you with someone else who may help you through that stuff. I was connected to dozens and dozens of people who have gone through the military life, right? It's Lori and I chatted forever, right? Been great for me that they know that stuff. They will give you a little bit of break. When you share, how do you trust them? I had a conversation this morning, and I shared. We were talking, and I knew that this person, there is no chance she runs down to her forecourt league and tells all 16 other ladies about my life. You have to have that, but how do you guys know when someone is confidential? You ever had any experiences where it went wrong? You said something and it went to somebody else. It ended up being like a whole group. I've been burned by that stuff a little bit. How well do you know them? Have you had previous conversations with them that maybe wandered into that other world of instead of employee member, it's two humans having a conversation, right? Anybody had any good, bad experiences sharing some of the member that went down the crapper? Didn't say shit. I mean, I just
You
said
might as well just say it.
I know, but I feel like I should be professional.
Swearing's professional.
Yeah. Again, I think having those trying to find people who have shared experiences, right? I have people in this room that I have conversations with about kids the same age leaving us behind. We even have a club, but you're not invited yet.
We are the kids.
Yeah, if you leave, you kind of. So when you do those things, I would just make sure you're 100%. If you think there is any chance that Kevin has a conversation with a member, and this member is well known for spreading gossip throughout the club, second guess that. Is this the person that's talking? I just make sure it's clear. Everybody I share with, I usually know. All right, this is confidential. And if you don't get that, I think you ought to at least think a second time about should I be having this conversation. Do they start with you? How do we introduce it? Right? Let's say you've chosen someone at the club, and you're going through something, and it doesn't even have to be like tragic or sad. You're just having a conversation. How do you approach them? You say, "Hey, I know I'm your trainer, but let's talk about this topic."
It's hard. So when you're with people for one or two with clients, there's gonna be a time where they ask about you, and I feel like as trainers, they come in, they're like, they are about either they're gonna talk all about themselves for 30 minutes, or they're gonna want to forget their life and want to ask you a million questions.
Yeah.
And I've known trainers to not share anything, and then I've known trainers to talk way too much about themselves. So it's kind of so hard.
Yeah,
I've learned the hard way, and I've learned.
Yeah, the first question I have on here is, did they ask? Did they invite you? right? Did they show some interest in your life, right? That's a sign. All right, maybe we're going down a new path, right? With these people, have they shared with you previously, and you maybe left thinking, all right, we've entered a new world with this person, right? They shared this private, personal thing that might open it up for you to feel like, all right, I can handle this. I think time maybe. How long have you known them? All right, have you been training somebody for 20 years? Um, Many of you here know Judy Carlson. She knows everything about me, but she was my first tennis lesson when I moved to Wisconsin 22 years ago. She's seen me from grow up. She's seen my kids when they were all babies. She probably babysat them at some point. So I know that I can tell her anything, and it stays with her all the time. So I think there's a time. I think in like something. Do you know their family? Right. I mean, Tim, Kevin, Connor, great examples. They work with all these kids, but over years you learn mom and dad and cousins and grandparents and everybody, right? So as you branch out and start knowing their families a little bit more, you'll hear more stuff about them that might make it more comfortable to have those conversations. And there's a lot to it. Does your story involve? Does what you want to talk about, your topic, does it relate to them from an age standpoint or a life standpoint? Right? If I've got a member and she's 23 years old, might not be interested in the life of a 51-year-old, right? It's different things. So it's watching that stuff. But I've also found others that are a little bit younger who ask questions about what happens when they leave. I get that a lot lately, right? I say it sucks, right? It's awesome and it's terrible. And so do they have similar life things going on? Might be something we're in the same boat. There's a lot to it. I would just stress, be really, really good at being self-aware of the situation, because I can also see when it could go wrong. I might ask Julie some questions later from the HR world about things we talked a bit about, legal things we can and can't say, right? But I just tell you, be really good about picking your people, because I also think all this I talk about could also go horribly wrong. I've been lucky; I haven't had a whole lot that went the wrong direction. Choose wisely. I wrote down here: do they have a history of being a snitch? That's the word I chose, right? Again, there's people in our club that I will never open up to, because I know that when uh, even if it's not me, if they overhear a conversation in the lobby, the studio now knows about it, and then the gym knows about it, and 20 minutes later, everybody in my 3-5 women's league knows what this person just said. So if you know that's a history, stay away from those people. Right? We've got to be able to trust them. Can we use stories in our lesson plans? Can you introduce non-work stuff into an actual tennis lesson or training or group lesson or swim, whatever everybody does? Every one of my classes I teach now pretty much leads off with, I did this last week and here's your lesson for today. I've been on a military kick for like 2 weeks, right? About following the rules, being disciplined, doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. I bring it up in lesson plans all the time. Some of that's just my style, but I think there's a place that if you're in a training setting or even a group lesson and you like the group, I think it's okay to mention, had a big weekend. My daughter got married this week, and see what their reactions. You're going to get hopefully good. They all boo you. Do you guys think you can bring it up when you're training, when you're swimming, group lessons, or do you get rid of that stuff? I'm not like I'm not saying I'm correct, but I think that is a great way. Again, I can teach a bad lesson to a lot of groups because they know me, and they're going to give me at least one, right? And I believe it's because they know things, especially during these. Everybody on court knew that I just came from this, and I always tell them, if I walk off the court just because I'm a mess, just keep playing, right? They know that stuff, so I know I can get away with maybe not my greatest moment on the court, or a lesson that just didn't quite hit the standards that we like to keep, because they understand better. I think it's valuable to be able to do that and share those things. Hey, sorry, I didn't think that was that great. I'm struggling. This happened. I'll be better next time. But if you just go out and they don't have that background and that relationship with you, and your lesson sucks, you really don't have a go back, right? You can't get that back. And so I would suggest trying it. Again, anybody had a bad experience? Shared something and it went down the crapper in a lesson, right? I've had one recently, maybe two. I've found my military world now. I found a few people who maybe aren't on the same side as me as far as what I feel about our military now, right? Having someone in it, seeing it, right? And they tend to like turn it political. And that's when I know we're done forever. We're no longer having personal conversations with you because that's not the direction I wanted to go. I think you can shut it down too, but pretty much if you take a lesson from me, you're going to hear a story about my life. And then I'm going to very poorly turn it into some kind of analogy. But I think it's a good way to try it and introduce it because you might get at the end of class, somebody walks up to Katie and said, Katie, I had the same experience. I know what you're going through, right? And you have a little conversation, and now you've got your member and leader relationship, but you've just broadened that a little bit to something better, right? Maybe they can help you down the road. I mentioned Judy Carlson. She's been my brain doctor. I don't think that's the actual term. She is neurologist. Yeah, she did my MRI. She put big pictures on the screen and looked at my brain. She's your new injury car attorney, right? So those relationships can help you significantly down the road. So I use them. I use them all the time. My last one of this is what's the bad part about if you share with members? What can go wrong? Yeah, they may not like your personal story. They might not agree with it, and now you've damaged that. I guess the question is, are you willing to let somebody go? I probably am, because if they don't agree with, we probably weren't going to work out anyway, right? But it can go badly. They do not, like the military thing. I had a couple that I could tell quickly. They were they didn't believe in what I believe in. I guess the best I can put it. In that case, I simply stopped talking. I just ended it. I just learned quickly, all right, this is not a topic we're going to discuss anymore. And anytime that person is in my area or on court with me, I don't bring it up. Yeah, I don't know. That case was pretty easy. It was just a quick. I could tell you're not into this. I'm just gonna move on. I didn't address it. In my mind, I'm like, nope. I got to move on. Switch topics pretty quick in a whack way, right? I didn't, punch the dude in the face. I wanted to. I have one now. I still.
I can say I can relate to that from a military
Yeah.
Challenging emails so I can get it on and on my email. Once in a while I was sharing, right? And one picture I had was met. Felt like I was being political. Although my sharing had nothing to do with being political. It was my daughter came from the airport, she was in uniform. And I never put political stuff out there, but then they went on the whole political rant and I got an email like this. Appropriate, not only for the director, she talked about your team, dialogue, political. Thankfully, I had support of the owners to say this wasn't a military post, this was a mom post, and that Lori is mom, probably above all if I had to say what
Sure.
is most important because I'm mom before black, right? But I did have to address that person and talk about how you do that and in person, yeah, or I just had to say I went to that thought and I appreciate the engagement.
Well done. Always wacky.
However, how I was looking at my lens of it was absolutely nothing to do with political propaganda. It was a mom that's where I was coming from. I understand that you took it in this light. I can respect that. They don't interpret it. And I think I told that person in that moment, I respect that our views are different. Very good for you. In fact,
I like it.
if you want me to take you off my
Yeah, I had a few conversations like that were leaning that
Yeah.
direction. I tried something. I send an email out every Sunday morning to our adult tennis members, and the last 2 weeks ago, I sent one. I mentioned I was going to be gone for the week because of my son, and I was a little anxious about it for multiple reasons. Someone's going to respond and be an asshole, right? Can I even do this? Am I allowed to put this in a whack professional email? I went ahead and just did it. Forgiveness later if it was wrong. I didn't get anything except positive. I got lucky. I got several just thanks, have a good trip, all that kind of stuff. And I was expecting, I don't know, my low expectations of people in the world that I was expecting to get something. But I think it's worth exploring because in your case, you handled it. It was one person. You fixed it. You might have helped dozens of people because they saw, oh, she's done this. I know what that's like, or like me, right? So those disadvantages are it goes completely down the tubes, and your GM or owner gets a phone call. Just do it right. Don't write. My son's graduating from basic training. Go USA. I hate every other country. Like here's who I voted for. Don't add to it. Just tell your story. And I've had lots of people in this room when I'll get to it later in a bit, but I've struggled a bit sometimes with knowing that I talk a lot about myself and my family, and I've had many people here be nice to me and say it's your story. It's okay. Tell your story, and if people don't want to listen, don't just tell me. I think, and last sort of switch the members. Advantages for us is connections to other things, right? If you build that bigger relationship with them through some non-work things, there's a good chance that you're going to get a really good review written about you to your GM. Wow, I had a great conversation with Caleb. Really gotten to know her. She's great. Love that she's willing to share stories, right? So I think there's a lot of positives to build the community in your program or at your clubs if it works. I do think it can go bad, but I live in a little bit of a world of rainbows and unicorns in the tennis world that everything's good until I'm in our office and they're like, bitch for an hour. But I think it can lead to you want another job someday, or you need another job, and you've got a relationship with someone at the club, and it's a little bit different level, and you're in a tough spot. You can't work at the WAC anymore for some reason. You got a team of people. Hey, I know these people, and they know me for years. I can tell them this. I've got to get off the court. I'm too old for this anymore. I can't do it. You got anything in your world? You know anybody? I think having those relationships makes those next steps a lot easier too. I'd say the negatives are small compared to what you can get out of it. You might also make some friends. I have some friends at the club now that I think outside of the club I'd probably hang out with.
I have a question for like some of the leaders in this group. So in regards to that, I feel like I've always told my trainers, if you need to bring in the client, I'm happy to coach you through that or have that conversation. I don't know. But I would be curious to hear, so if that goes south in that regards, and like we've had plenty of clients that, you know, you're just like, they drain me, there's too much political talk, whatever it is, it's like, I can't do this anymore. I'd love to hear if you guys have the experience that you said, or coach someone to say,
I think you have to keep some of that personal stuff out of it, and it's a little bit easier to come from like maybe a scheduling standpoint. I'm trying to better time block my day. I understand that the time that I have available are no longer going to work for you, but I would like to make sure that I can do a trainer who's going to be a good fit for that time. You know, because you have to be like, I really suck all the life out of it. I can't. I mean, that's just mean, and I think I wouldn't do that to another human regardless if that's how I felt. So I think from a scheduling standpoint, it's always so much easier. Or like I'm taking on additional responsibilities because of that. Unfortunately, I've had to dial back some of my client base to accommodate for these new responsibilities, this leadership role that I'm taking on. And these are the times that I have available, and
The people who are like mad, you know, and I do understand that that falls outside of what we can hear. So let's see who we do have. Because that softens the blow. Then they just think, you just can't do the time they want.
I think I've had a few. So pretty much my whole career until the WAC, I was teaching 7 days a week, Saturdays and Sundays, all the time. And at some point, I decided I'm not going to do Sundays anymore for one reason: football at noon. And when your team sucks, they always play at noon, so I knew I was going to be at noon. I had groups on Sunday mornings for years, 9 to noon, right? I took the personal route. As I had had them for so long, I went to them and said, guys, I'm sorry. I got to make a life change. I can't do this anymore. You've seen me grow up. You've seen my kids grow up. I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to do Sundays anymore. We will look for some other options. So because of they knew me, I could fall back and kind of guilt them into, we've been asking this guy to come into work every Sunday. We've seen his kids from when they were born, and now they're 15, 16 years old, and we continue to ask them to do this. And they actually took it that way. You should have done this years ago. Why did you let us continue to make you come in on Sundays? Right? And that's a victory. It's because of that long-term relationship that I was the one who was struggling with it. They were, cool, you're done, right? Go home now if you want to, right? Then I switched to Saturdays. I had a couple Saturdays group, and I talked to them. Like, I'll still do some Saturdays, but it's not going to be every single one. We're gonna pick dates because I've got these things down. And same thing, I had these Saturday groups the same for most of my Saturday groups, and it might be the case with our other tennis people. They generally don't change much because sometimes that's the only thing they can do. They're not available during the week, so they pick a Saturday and they buy it for years and years and years. Same thing, they all let me off the hook with no questions asked. You're right, it's your time. You've done it. So I think the personal can, if you've got years, right, or already been fairly deep in other ventures as far as outside of work stuff. I think there's both. If you don't know them that well, then I think you go Shannon's route and schedule courts, availability, whatever. I loved when I had little kids. Some of you are still in it. You can use them to get out of everything. Sorry, kid's sick. Sorry, kid's got a school thing. Did it help? Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. You've got especially young ones. Oh, dang. Little Timmy's homesick today. Sorry. It's great. Well, I don't have any more. You guys know I can't get out of stuff anymore. Employees. So I sort of gave my phone to Molly. We're gonna see what she came up with. New York first. Shannon set us up for like 2 days for that picture, I think. But this was our New York trip. I guess the first question I put on it: do we even talk to each other about our lives? Some people don't. Like, I know Lake Country, we do, right? We sort of know everybody. I mean, that's a good question. I'm obviously a yes. I would not have survived the last 6 months without it. I didn't know I needed it until I started needing it. So I sort of encourage everybody to, if there's something up, find somebody, right? I'll just walk in the office and find whoever's there and say something and see if they can help me, right? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm obviously a yes. Anybody ever worked somewhere where that wasn't the case? You did not have those conversations? I have, right? I worked at one place that was as we are workers and robots, and we do not have those things. And didn't really know at the time that I didn't like it, or I hadn't seen anything else. I just thought that's just the professional life. And, fortunately, I'm not very professional, and I found the whack at some point. Our tennis staffs I've been on have always been sort of tight knit. We kind of know when something's up, and we'll have those conversations. But as a whole, different departments, this is the most I've ever. It's the best I've ever seen at the multiple clubs I've been at. But not everybody believes you share stuff, right? So again, just like with the members, I think we have to pick and choose who you can have those conversations with. Everybody in this room, I feel like I can have those with, right? But it's not every single employee in your club. It's how do you know them, right? You don't have time. Can you bring up, hey, I'm struggling. I just dropped my kid off at the airport, but I'm talking to the 16-year-old that just joined the front desk staff and has no clue how to answer a phone. Probably not. She's looking at me like, you're just creepy. She's gonna repeat. She's coming to Julie. This old dude just spilled his guts to me. Again, just knowing who. Are they in similar life situations? Good way to kind of know. All right, seems about like we're in the same thing, or have they experienced the same things in the past? All right, I'm older than some, but I have had kids when they were little. I've been Tim, middle of the chaos of junior program and HP and trying to build champions, and you've got young kids and more on the way, and it's freaking crazy, right? So do you have those shared relationships, even if the age difference is a wider gap, right? Knowing those things of who you can approach for those types of things. I approach everybody. I don't really care. I think I'm learning I'm just creepy. That's what I'm getting at. Same disruptive. Yeah. You gonna put your headphones in while I'm yapping up here, Connor? You got it. Remember? Connor said he had to put his headphones in the office when I was back there. I thought that was funny. Have they shared with you previously? It's similar to the same stuff. Y'all ever had one where it went bad? Shared something with an employee, and then the next thing you know, the whole club knows it. It didn't work. No.
I know.
It can go bad, right? If we have that relationship and then business goes wrong, big mistake, and now we got to have it can make that conversation awkward because you know things about me and I know things about you, but whether it's I'm the manager and we've got to discipline somebody, or you make the mistake. I think it's similar to with the members, but I also think it can go incredibly well if you've got that trust. I think people might work harder for you and with you if they're aware of maybe some things you've gone through or shared some experiences together. I think those positives far outweigh whether it could go. I mean, everything can go wrong, can it? Regardless of whether they know who you are or not. But it's the same questions. How and when do we do this for each other and for your teams? When is a good time for me to go sit in the corner by Julie's and Liz, Peggy's desk, and start yapping about my feelings? This morning? I was there this morning. Yeah. Yeah, you did.
First of all, if a chair's on, that starts it.
Again, I mentioned the first thing I said was I shouldn't be up here talking about this because I yap a lot. Sometimes I just get bored and want to go have some fun for a few minutes in between other stuff, right? But I think I'm trying to get better myself at knowing when it's necessary, when it's okay, when it's needed. I had a day. I think it was this week. I walked in, and every freaking person in that back office is head down working, and I thought, crap. I got like half an hour to kill some time. Nobody that'll play with me. And I had to really be like, all right, I'm just gonna walk back to my office, to my desk, and I'm gonna let them all work. Just so there was a vibe of getting shit done today. Right? It was not time for me to interrupt. I fail quite a bit on that stuff. Right? Listening to conversations around you. If the vibe is fun, right? There's a conversation you hear and Katie and I are having, and it's entertaining, and you got some time to kill and want to join us, go for it, because it's already started. Right? It's already fun. I mean, if Katie's there. I've been called distracted, annoying. Some of my favorite people I wrote have told me to shut the fuck up. Or there's a look, the not now look. I've gotten that many times, right? I have to practice on being better at it.
Don't you agree though that those levels of relationships are the ones that you want, because they can tell you that you're not offended, they know
For
they're
sure.
not offended you, they just need to get stuff done, and they can say, just gotta get the fuck out and work.
Yeah.
And they know that you're not, so that I think just shows that the relationship is a positive,
Yeah.
strong one.
In my case, I'm never. In my case, I'm never offended by it. Like personally, again, these are my stories. I'm not saying this is all of you, but it doesn't offend me. I'm like, all right, at least I know what's up. It's not the time. But I think again, being self-aware about what's happening around you. How fast are they walking? This is a fast walking. Yeah. This is a fast walking crew that I can't keep up with, and so I see a certain speed. I know, not today. I know, but if I just want to, have some fun and bring up a stupid conversation, yeah, I need to watch the pace of that a little bit, right? Again, I am guilty of everything I wrote down on this. But again, I think it comes down, did they ask you? Right? Did they show some interest? Luckily, people in this room all allowed me to tell my story over the past several months. And even before that, I just picked this because it was a lot. Do you do it in the club? In the office? Or do you take somebody out for coffee? Lunch? I've asked Julie a few times, you want to go in the lobby and sit with me and have coffee because I needed to chat about something, right? So it could be a thing where you don't want it in public. There's a certain person that this is the person I need to talk to about this. They've got that experience, we've discussed it before, or they're simply just happen to be sitting there, right? But it doesn't have to be in whatever your space is. At our place, you can go sit up front at the bar and have that conversation. We do that a lot for stuff. That's kind of it's in the middle of the place, but it's also kind of our quiet place. It won't bother us if we're sitting up there, just two people mostly, right? Because I don't know all the rules about do you have certain conversations in the building or not. I have, right? But I've also taken several off-site because I just think it's more comfortable and it eliminates those distractions. But when it goes bad, I think we deal with it. I might say, Lucas, you and I used to be on a certain level. That seems like it's changed a little bit. We might need to. We're coworkers now because I did something or he did, right? And try to get to something that this was us before something happened and we're not that anymore, but we're still going to work together and get our stuff done. But if it goes great, I have a room full of people here that it's not always great because I annoy you, but I know everybody in here I can talk to about things, right? So I think the number of people in here and people that couldn't come from me far outweighs the times where I've overshared, over annoyed. I have one quick story. I had a longtime friend. She was at my former club. I would put her. She's actually Judy Carlson's cousin, sister-in-law maybe. Anyway, one of the best people I knew. Friends, really sort of we knew each other well. About 6 months ago, I hadn't seen her I just sent her a text. How's it going? Haven't talked to you for a while. Hope all is well. I know her husband. I know all about her. Her response was not positive. She just ripped into me. Turns out during all this time, she had some tragedies in her life. Her dog died. Sorry. She's got a new dog. He's great. Her father passed away. Something else happened. I didn't know any of it. Nobody told me. It wasn't something she puts on social media. And she destroyed me. I'm not the friend. You're not the friend I thought you were. Not as close. You're not who I thought you were. All this stuff. And basically broke up with me. And then she sent me a Google of it. So I apologized. I felt bad about it. I told her, I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. How would I know these things? We're not in the same circles anymore. She sends me a Google link to something about how my apology was wrong. She told me to Google like some sort of manipulative apology or something, and then I'm like, all I said was thanks for that. Okay, see ya. I just ended it. We have not talked since, right? Because I found out she wasn't. I didn't need her anymore. I broke up with her. Like, we're done because my people, they don't need me to call them every time something happens. My best friends in the whole world, I cannot talk to them for 2 years, and I'll pick up the phone, and there are no questions asked. It's go time. We just start yapping like we normally would. We don't have those. Oh, if you don't call me when my dog gets sick, we're not friends anymore. Right? It shocked me. I was not prepared for it. Right? Especially in the same family as Judy, who's a saint. But it went bad. She knows a lot about me. Right? She knows my kids. She knows my wife. She knows my family. And she just, I did not. I missed a couple things in her life because I didn't know. But I chose. If that's how you are, then we were never friends in the first place. If you expect me to do that, so there are places it can go. It can go wrong. I sort of feel like personally, if it goes wrong, it went wrong for a reason. And so with that ran its course, and I've got another group of people that I can hang out with. She only scares me because she was so off the rails and mean that if she ever decided to pass on some things that I may have said about her tennis playing friends, she's the type of person that we would have conversations about someone behaving badly, or can you believe she did that, and like I'm gossiping like a teenager with her. And if she ever decided to share those things, then I would be in serious trouble. So I lost that, but I'm not that concerned about it. But it can go wrong with members for sure. I think it can probably go wrong with employees. Almost done. Can we cry at work, Katie?
Oh,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures. I've got all of my people there building the fort. Yeah, you made it twice. Again, these are not really for stories. They're just these things are. I got Mike in there. Yeah, another fort. Connor was my daughter's bartender, right? Um, there's a lot of stuff, and I just put these in here because these are important to me. It's why I'm standing here in front of you and still at the whack, is because I have this group of people. You made it, right? Isn't that awesome? Yeah, those are Ray's kids. I was teaching them things. I'm a role model, Ray. Yeah. If we can't cry at work, then multiple people in this room probably need to see Julie and have termination papers because I've done it, right? Like I said before, it doesn't bother me. I've been that way since I was a kid. Right? My youngest Molly is that way. She'll see a rainbow and start tearing up because the world's so good and like she's awesome. Where and when? Anybody ever cried at work? Right? I've seen it. I've been in the office. Julie got me in the parking lot when the day Ben left for next day after he'd left for basic training, and I pull in the parking lot. I saw Julie. She's across the parking lot. I saw her. I'm crying before I even talked to her, right? Because she knows my story, right? And that's because she knew everything about. There's multiple people in here that probably could have seen, and I think similar things would happen. After he graduated, I came home. I thought I was done crying. I get to the office, and I know Julie was there, and I told him I got to go because it got me again. Like I thought I was over it. Do you ever get over it? Or is it every time you hear the national anthem and God Bless America and all that stuff? Great.
I'm crying, and Andy said, "This is out."
It's true. And again, if let's say Lori's a member, she's going to give you a little grace if you're struggling to work one day. You don't teach your best class, or you forget to return an email or a phone call. If she has that feeling, you get a little bit of a break there. You can, right? You can repair that because you can be honest with them. Yeah, I dropped the ball, Lori. Here's what happened. Couldn't stop crying last night. My kid left. I'm sorry, but it might happen again. Are you cool with that? Right? She says no, then we don't want her anyway. Right? I just we've all done it. I've been on the court, had to walk away. I went behind the curtain a couple times because something just triggered something during all of these events. It's fine. I usually just try to make fun of myself and act silly and you guys got to go. Be back. Right? Play amongst yourselves. That's usually how I do it. So I think it's okay. There's no rule against, is there? Right? So I think those are all things that we should look into a little bit more because I think we're awesome at treating the members a certain way, but I think we can treat ourselves that way and help each other. A lot of this stuff came from during my time. I actually wanted to come to work. Right? Did I get you in there, Shannon?
Just pointing out.
I didn't have a serve picture. Actually,
My
but
continental grip.
I couldn't find a serve picture. But that was nice.
Yeah. Let's just dance.
I don't know.
I don't know what.
I'm not quite sure what he's doing.
Most of the stuff.
I wanted to come to work. Right? It wasn't. I've worked at places that would not be the case. Like the last thing I want to do today is go to friggin' work. Right? That's gonna suck. In my case, I couldn't wait to get back. That was the place I needed to be because people here allowed me to work through all this stuff, right, without judging me, at least to my face. Right? You can talk about me all you want behind my back. I don't care. Right? But I found that pretty powerful for me that I'm sort of finally at a place that I want to go there. I need to be in this situation today. I don't need to be home. Home is awful. Everybody in my house is crying. Right? It's quiet. I walk by my son's room and just become a mess. Right? I saw his baseball gloves in the garage. Oh my god! I sat down in the garage and freaking bawling because I saw his baseball gloves. Right? I cried because I passed a cousin's.
Oh.
I was a mess, but I needed to come to work. 2 reasons: I want to see my people, right, and it distracts me a little bit. Get on board and be a little bit better. And I found talking about it definitely helps me. And this is all about my personal emotional strength here.
Do you get to a point though where like you don't want to talk about it anymore and they keep bringing it up? That's the other.
I haven't, but that's me. I literally could talk about it all day long, every day. I have to stop myself, like, oh god, I'm talking about this again. I don't. Some might. You ever been like, all right, that passed, I'm done. Like my 200 and some days are over. I'm not talking to y'all anymore. We're done. Right? I never got to it, but I think some people probably got to it from me. But yeah, I'd say there's probably a time where you might get to a point where I survived. I did it. I had a little bit. My kid graduated. I'm not going to. Went to a new base. Dropped him off. Totally fine, except for Adele. My Adele moment. Yeah, my daughter played Adele in the car like an hour after we left, and I'm freaking bawling. I had to tell her to turn it off. It's not even like a military song. It's not like she's singing about the war, right? She's just, but it hit me, and I'm like, you gotta shut up. We drove in silence for about 20 minutes because it just made me think about what's next. Right, my next thing is he survived the hard part, but he's still gone for probably a long time. Right? So there's always when I don't think you stop. That's a question I put in. When do we stop yapping about it? Right? I don't think we can because there's always something. We might cruise along for a bit with no major things, and then boom, something hits. Right? Good. Always new content. That's correct.
That's just good journalism.
It's true. It might slow. I think I've tried to be better this week personally, not constantly. I made Ray watch videos the other day. So yeah, I think pick and choose what you need. I think it's about what we need. So I put on here I mentioned this in my the other Whack-U I did. Sort of a challenge. Find somebody or recognize someone right now that could use that. Right? Find somebody like I was that needed a significant amount of people to help me survive that. Is there somebody we aren't helping right now? Is there somebody in your world, your team, your life that you could call on the way home and be like, feel like something's up, right? You want to chat, you want to get coffee, go to lunch, whatever, go for a walk. I think that's important to do. I'm going to continue to try to do it better. It doesn't mean things are bad. It could just mean, hey, I haven't chatted with Linnea for a while. We haven't talked. I wonder what's up, right? Let's go get a cup of coffee, whatever, right, or a beer, or whatever you guys do, because it helped me tremendously. And if this group and all the others I've worked with can sort of pay that forward to others, we'll be pretty happy people, I think, at work if you know you're passing that stuff on. As I was sitting at the bar down there, I had some final words. This is smiling. Yeah, did she do it right? Yeah, that's smiling. Thanks for spilling the tea. I had to text Katie. It was just the T, T-E-A, but she got it right. I wrote some things down while I was sitting in the bar. Just some words that came to my mind when going over this. Guilt. I always feel guilty. I've joked in the tennis department that I'm just a fraud and hope nobody ever figures it out. Right? Guilty that my situation, as much as I talked about it, there's 50 other people who have similar or more difficult or more tragic things. And I'm always like, man, I've made these people listen to me for 6 freaking months. Did I listen to them enough? Right? And I know I didn't. I failed at that stuff. Right? So I always have that guilt feeling of, man, I shared all this, but did I let Kayla have her time? Right? Nikki, Julie, and Ann, you've heard me for months now telling you my story, and it's always like, God, I talk so much. You got to let them go. Right? I'm going to practice being better. But those things bother me that I haven't been. I asked Ray Lee last week, how do I get nicer?
What was your response?
I think it was, I don't. Right? I did bring Lori flowers, though. Yep. 2-week-old flowers that somewhat died in the back of my car. It's the thought that counts, Lori. I wrote hopeful. To me, that's hopeful that I can do what people in this room and people in our company have done for me. Hopeful that everybody in front of me can take something from this and help somebody else get through their difficult stuff. Again, mine's difficult, but it's not tragic. There's people, again, it's my guilt. There's people that have lost people, right? There's far more tragic things than what I dealt with. So this is just my stuff, right? But find them, right? Do for them what you guys have done for me. I'm going to try. Appreciative, jealous, right? I wrote jealous because, one, I'm jealous of my children. Jealous is the wrong word. I don't have a better one. I'm not great with words. I say them a lot, but I don't know what they mean, right? The experiences they've had. I'm so jealous of my son. He had to go to freaking basic training and blow shit up and shoot things and like live in the woods. And I was never brave enough or tough enough to do it, right? My daughter packed her car at 18, drove to LA. She owned like 2 things and 2.5 years survived. I never did it, right? Grateful, appreciative of all the things, right? But really, lastly, is just if I can ask this group to continue doing for each other what you do for your members. I mean, that's huge, right? Our club is, if we're all good and have a safe place to go, our members are going to be awesome, right? Because that means we're taking care of ourselves first together versus always members first. I somewhat think it's, when you get in an airplane and they tell you to put the mask on first, I think that's us. Sometimes we got to help each other get to a point where we can treat them just as good. But that's easier to do. I know it's easier for me when I walk in and I've got a team of people who help me get through this stuff, right? I can be better for them. So thanks for spilling the tea. And it's gift time. Some of you have flamingos. Oh, yeah. Again, you can thank my daughter. I've got dog, Willie. Now, they're all different because you can't buy just Willie dogs. There's a black dog. Or, yeah, that one's a little different. Put them on your desk, give them to somebody, but hopefully maybe remind you of what we discussed a little bit today. So I'm going to pass these around. Thank you guys for coming. You're done.